Can you check your microphone? Let's try it again.
Oh, it wasn't all the way. All right, good morning, everybody. Gave you an extra 5 minutes because it's so windy and chilly outside, but the sun is great. Our opening words this morning are, as we gather together for worship this morning, being both near and far, we light our chalice as we do each week. It is a symbol of our faith. May its light be a beacon of hope for the many, those who feel lost, those who feel threat, those who feel tired, those who are uncertain. May our beacon of hope help you find home, help you feel safe, give you respite, and honor your searching mind and spirit. And those words were written by Joseph M. Cherry. And now will you join me in the words for lighting the chalice? May the light we now kindle inspire us And our first hymn this morning is number 350, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. To the responsive reading, which is number 586 in the back of the gray hymnal. Someone put the page down, but it wasn't the right page. The idea of democracy. As labor is the common burden of our race, so the effort of some to shift their share of the burden onto the shoulders of others is the great, durable curse of the race. This expresses my idea of democracy. Whatever differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is no democracy. Destroy this spirit, and we have planted the seeds of despotism at our own doors. Why should there not be a patient confidence in the ultimate justice of the people? Is there any better or equal hope in the world? It is now that sacred moment in the service when we pass the plate. Yes, it's the call to offering. Now, I know talking about money in church can make people squirm. It's like that moment at Thanksgiving when someone brings up politics and your soul quietly leaves your body. But the offering isn't really about money. It's about what we love and what we care to nurture. This community has held each of us in ways big and small, with casseroles when life fell apart, with celebration when life came together, with a hug, a smile, a seat in the sanctuary where we can breathe and remember we're not in this alone. We give not because we have to, but because this place matters, because we are building something together that is tender and courageous and real. So give as you are able, give generously, give joyfully. May our gifts sustain this community of love, justice, laughter, and spiritual growth. And may we remember that what we nurture grows. No, we didn't. It's coming. I'm just going to do that, Teresa. Thank you. Each week, we come into this church bearing the joys and the concerns of our personal lives and events from the world around us. At this time, we share some of the more significant events that might have happened during the past week. So please come up, pick up the microphone, tell us about your joys, your sorrows, and light a candle for yourself and for those around us who share your feelings. Who would like to start us off? Somebody's got to be first.
My joy, I was downstairs getting coffee hour ready, and I was just admiring Paul's train thing that he puts up for us each year for the holidays. And it's a lot of work. He has to carry all this stuff here, and it's just so lovely, and it's a tradition, and it just made me feel my heart was full this morning.
Lovely.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sad. Many of you know or met my personal care associate, Zachariah Perkins. She's alive, but she is hurting. I won't go into the details, but she had an awful treatment by a number of people, and she's now in psychiatric care.
Oh, no.
So those of you who remember this wonderful young woman, 22 years old, with a good life ahead of her, right now she needs all our energy. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Marge.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to light a candle because I appreciate your sermons every week, and it's even better when you're here.
Oh.
Donna. So,
Believe
light a
me,
candle for you.
it's so much nicer to be here in person than it is to do it on Zoom. I wish I could be here every month, but it's just, it's, you know, life is busy and it's hard to get here, but I fill up the weekends that I come visiting people that I know in Buffalo, so it works really well.
I am really grateful for my husband and my son, just all the time. He's like amazing, will do anything, and he just loves me and cares for me so well. Last night, I went to Wegmans. I got some tofu, and I'd never had it before. I brought it home. He cooked it for me. Didn't know how. And then I'm eating it, and I feel like sick. So I stopped, put it away. And then I like flopped down on the bed. Him and my son are already laying down in there. And I said, Emerson, get me the garbage. And I just started like throwing up everything from the day. And then after that, I took a shower, and like as I'm in the shower, I hear the vacuum, and he's like scrubbing the bedroom floor. He's cleaning everything. Emerson's like, is mom gonna die? Is mom gonna die? So Avi's reassuring him and scrubbing the bathroom, cleaning up, vacuuming, and washing the sheet, changing the bed sheets, doing whatever. Just took care of everything, took care of me, held my head while I was puking, and it was really cool. I'm thankful for him.
Further proves my opinion that tofu is not worth eating.
But then I watched a video. Somehow I text this to my sister, and then somehow on my reels that night, it was a directions to make tofu. So I don't know, like they're reading my text or something, and they just gave me a recipe of how to cook tofu.
I think that's what's so beautiful about our church. We can turn something that seemed like a really awful thing and turn it around into something so loving. You know, I can just picture Avi and him holding your head in his lap lovingly, you know. This week has been up and down. I really panicked about the governmental shutdown being on the poverty line and stamps being cut. So I went to 3 pantries last week, and I'm just so incredibly grateful for the outpouring of people that have donated pet food. I have pet food for my cat, you know, and just people are really pouring their hearts out to people that need it. And, you know, and people forget. They forget. 3/4 of the people on food stamps, you know, they are seniors, disabled, or children. And WIC, I didn't realize WIC is a part of it, and that's taking the food out of babies' mouths, you know? It's just incorrigible to me. It gets me really fucking angry. I mean, I shouldn't laugh about it, and I shouldn't swear about it, but maybe I should, you know, and it's gotten me to get up and do something about it. And I thank you, Teresa, and I thank anybody else that has gone to these King's rallies. I have it, and I need to. I've been doing things online with the Democratic National Committee, and I went to, going down Erie. But it hasn't been enough, apparently. But I'm really glad about the last election, right? My daughter lives in New Jersey, so Mikey winning was like, yeah! This isn't up here to espouse my gratitude, politics. It's up here to show my gratitude and say when we work together, we can make things happen. I'm grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for you all of you. Thanks.
Well said.
Just because I drive a Cadillac doesn't mean I have money. It was given to me. I felt funny getting food, driving up to a pantry in a Cadillac, I said, oh, that's not mine. That's not mine.
Yeah.
which it sort of isn't.
Anyone else? No? All right, I will light one last candle for all of the unspoken joys and concerns, and in appreciation for being here and the great reception that I get from all of you when I come. As I said, it's so much nicer to be here in person. Okay, we have a meditation reading. It's called A Meditation on Courage and Vulnerability. I am learning to let down my guard. We all know about the deep instinct to respond to difficulty and stress with either fight or flight, with force or swift retreat, with decisive attack or prompt withdrawal. When faced with stress or difficulty or challenge, I am learning to let down my guard. I am learning to be vulnerable. I am seeking the courage to be open. I would have my vulnerability be a choice made from my courage rather than my fear. I would have my vulnerability be my strength. May my strength be not found as a hard shell of defense or a sharp weapon of attack. May my strength instead be found in an open stance of kindness and empathy, like a tree bending gracefully in the windstorm. May my strength be found in a willingness to join in the suffering of others, like a forest of trees together in a storm. May I choose to be receptive rather than protected, sharing rather than shielded. I face my own suffering and the suffering of others with a nimble capacity to respond. In this invitation for others to meet me in the field with a yearning for understanding and peace. I know this is a risk. I know I may be hurt. I know things may not go well. But still, I will seek the courage to set aside the closed fist, the stinging report, the barbed judgment of others. I will seek within myself the strength to stand exposed and unguarded before the world, in the wind, open to difficulty, not because I can be any other way, but because I have chosen this better way. I am still learning to be vulnerable. I seek the courage to be so vulnerable. May I have others who can help me to be so courageous. May my example serve others as well as myself. And may my strength be our strength in sharing this life openly with others. And those are the words of Douglas Taylor. And let's just take a moment of silence before we start the sermon. Many years ago, I had a friend who was a Republican. Yes, a real friend who thought differently than me about politics. When we talked about an upcoming election, which I think might have been George W., That's how long ago it was. The only comment that I heard from her was, well, if the Republicans win, we'll have more money in our pockets. A fact which obviously was not important to me, but I understood her feelings about it. And we just moved on with our friendship. In spite of our different political views, we had a number of things in common that were much more important to us than politics. I can't imagine that happening today. I recently read a post on Facebook that said, "My MAGA neighbor keeps asking me to dinner and I don't want to go. What should I do?" I also had a conversation with my daughter in Cleveland about keeping up with the news in her neighborhood by checking out their Facebook page. I was encouraging her to look at the page to see what was going on. Her reply was, "Why would I want to do that? They're all Trumpers." My reply to both of these remarks was, well, if you never talk to any of them, you are never going to change their minds about us. You are never going to find the things that you have in common, and the great divide will continue to deepen. Is that what we really want? I don't think it's what anybody wants, and as a Unitarian Universalist, the division of my community goes against my core beliefs. Diversity I understand and value. Division I do not. I want to live in a country that has a wide range of opinions, beliefs, and ethnicities, because I believe those things spur open, honest debates that result in better solutions to life's issues. However, that is not where we are today. Masha Gessen, who is a columnist for the New York Times, recently wrote an opinion piece which he titled, "How to Be a Good Citizen When Your Country Does Bad Things." Today, I'm asking the question that Gessen starts his essay with. That question is, when your country pursues abhorrent policies, taking away WIC from babies, I mean really, when the face it turns to the world is the face of a monster, what does that say about you? Now, Gessen is Jewish, and he has lived in Israel. So in his eyes, it is his country that's doing abhorrent things that are much worse, comparatively speaking, than what's happening here in the US. He's talking about Israel. But our country is building cages for immigrants, deploying military force against civilians, destroying its own democratic institutions, and committing murder on the high seas. Our country held food support for the poor hostage in order to be allowed to increase those same people's health insurance premiums a minimum of 100%. It's not good. I don't believe any of us here support this behavior. I don't believe that my old Republican friend supports it either. It has gone way beyond just having a little more money in our pockets. I don't like to lay blame, because even if you voted for Trump, I really believe that it's highly unlikely that you foresaw just how far his actions would go. However, there is this to consider. Abraham Joshua Heschel, an American rabbi who opposed the Vietnam War and played a role in the civil rights movement, said, "In a free society, we are all involved in what some are doing. Some are guilty, all are responsible." Few of us have actually seen ICE officers or the National Guard on our streets. We don't frequently have to interact with Trump supporters. We can stay in our own little bubbles. but by Gessen's definition, we still hold some responsibility for it all. Gessen also writes about something that he calls shock exhaustion, where so many things happening in such close succession that crimes become routine. In an interview with David Leonhardt, Gessen said he actually doesn't like that term shock exhaustion, but he said, and I quote, "I think it's very human and in a way very beautiful. Desire to normalize, to habituate, to find our footing in any situation and keep on living. It's sort of a great life-affirming ability we have, except that it has a way of normalizing things that we really shouldn't live with." Personally, I see the constant barrage of wild and crazy things coming from Washington and Florida, the destruction of the East Wing, the deployment of troops, the refusal to pay SNAP benefits, pictures of a golden marble bathroom, as a deliberate campaign to drive us into some kind of exhaustion, whether it's shock exhaustion or not. What most Americans want, no matter what their political views, is we want our normal, peaceful lives back, a life where we can disagree and still be friends. So where does this leave us as UUs? Where does it leave the people who are not talking to their neighbors? What do we do in the face of this great divide? Well, fortunately for us, the Unitarian Universalist Association has something called the Organizing Strategy Team, or they refer to it as OST, because why not have an acronym when you can? And they have worked on these kinds of issues before. The OST were the folks behind the UU Side with Love and other campaigns for justice. On the UUA website, there's a toolkit that will help us all be engaged and effective, while at the same time staying safe. The toolkit is called Grounded, Resilient, and Responsible: Responding and Organizing in Authoritarian Times. And make no mistake, this is an authoritarian time. And not just as UUs, but as citizens of this country, we have a moral responsibility to resist. I was in Flagstaff on October the 18th, No King's Day, and I have heard from people there, from people here in Niagara Falls, and from people in Cleveland about what a wonderful celebration that day was. An estimated 7 million people attended 2,700 non-violent events in protest of the government's authoritarian policies. People came in costumes, they came with signs. In Flagstaff, they brought their dogs and their kids, and instead of pointing the finger at division, with obvious joy, they honored diversity. And it was heartwarming to witness. As OST points out, there can be pitfalls in these well-intentioned, nonviolent protests. OST tells us when we go to these events, we should be prepared for responses from law enforcement and counter-protesters. Fortunately, these did not come into play in either of the two No Kings protests, likely because the participants followed the rules set up by the people in the organization that set up the protest. They respected the guidelines set by the organizers, and they refrained from escalating tensions. But OST cautions us to know ahead of time what are the rules for each protest we attend, to have a safety plan as to how to get out of the area if the mood changes, to stay on message, and to know our own rights. And it's not necessary to be a street actor to support these peaceful protests. There are plenty of behind-the-scenes roles to be played, providing childcare for those who go to a protest, legal support, distributing food and water, emotional support. We here are not a congregation with deep pockets, but we can provide meeting space for social justice organizations. OST suggests being well-informed enough to team up with existing efforts to ensure that we aren't duplicating work that's already being done. There's also a whole section of the toolkit directed to personal issues such as digital security. I personally don't feel that the things I do to resist are big enough to attract attention. However, they could. I write opinion pieces that have appeared in the Buffalo and Florida newspapers under the name of an attorney that I work for. I post on social media. I give these sermons. I'm on the board of my church in Cleveland, where we were warned by the UUA not to endorse any political candidates from the pulpit, because even though this administration has said churches can now do that without fear of losing their 501c3, the UUA fears that it's a trap. And I do know a professor at Grinnell College in Iowa whose colleague has been doxxed. Doxing, hacking, and misinformation campaigns. These are real things. We do need to be aware of our rights. Plus, we need to be aware of the restrictions imposed by agencies such as the IRS and ICE and law enforcement. And these are just the exterior things that we can do to meet this moment. But there are also things we have to do for our interiors, our souls. The OST toolkit tells us Unitarian Universalists possess abundant human, spiritual, and material resources to contribute to the movement, and we have the moral responsibility to do so prophetically, responsibly, and sustainably. But in order to be those people, we have to first care for ourselves. The section on spiritual care tells us to stay informed, but have boundaries so we're not doom scrolling all day long, to focus on what we can do, whether it be provide space for a social justice organization or bring water to a protest, to stay connected with family, friends, and our churches, to practice mindfulness, to be thankful for the good things in our lives, to be creative, and to find joy. As we all know, in order to maintain solidarity with our fellow UUs and other like-minded people, and there are those out there, communication is critical. Keep informed so that you can speak honestly about the issues, and be patient in researching your information. Only share information that you know is going to be valid. Model our Unitarian Universalist values, which frankly for me are the rock-solid foundation, the light that shines on the differences between what is good and what is evil. Don't play the blame and shame game. Nurture the emotional health of the whole community, and yet do not be silent, because silence is not neutral. Jonathan Deckel is an Israeli filmmaker who pledged not to serve an undemocratic government. So he was standing up against the Israeli government as it is today. In an interview with Masha Gessen, and I'm paraphrasing what he said here, to be a good citizen of a bad state, one has to do scary things. It may be writing an opinion essay. It may be using your body to shield someone more vulnerable than you. It may be withdrawing your economic cooperation. There are many ways for us to express our values. Some are riskier than others, but still many ways. When large numbers of people canceled their Hulu subscriptions, Jimmy Kimmel got reinstated. Our economic approach can be very powerful. To get back to the dilemma of neighbors, like the MAGA person who invited his liberal neighbor for dinner, we can't think of time spent with them as fraternizing with the enemy. Just using the word enemy misses the point. Our goal has to be not to change people's minds, but to cultivate understanding and find common ground. We need to model tolerance, to listen to the arguments of those who think differently than we do, and to encourage them to listen to us in return. We are all living in silos of the internet's construction right now. Whatever opinions we have, the algorithms of the internet feed back to us information that agrees with whatever we have told it we already believe. My own son thinks that I've been brainwashed by left-leaning propaganda. And while I believe that my sources make an attempt to fairly represent both sides, I also think his silo has been filled with right-leaning propaganda. But what really are our main concerns? Having a roof over our heads, affordable food and health care, a reliable infrastructure, and purposeful work to do. Neighbors we can talk to, be comfortable with, and whom we can rely on if we need them, no matter what their political affiliation. When disaster strikes, like floods and hurricanes or wildfires, it quickly becomes apparent that our political divides are arbitrary constructs of our own making. In the long run, we are just humans after all, trying to stay the course and find those fleeting moments of joy that make life worth living. This great divide that we're living in today, this too will pass. In the meantime, Gesson tells us we have to find a way to balance sounding the alarm and conjuring hope and faith. Faith is when you kind of sit back and think that, well, America is exceptional and everything will work out in the end. And hope is when you observe and participate in the thing that carries out the truth of the theory that it will actually get better. So hope is what motivates us to action. If we don't have hope, we will never act. By the same token, hope dims if we do not take action. It's a feedback loop. Keep the faith, hold on to your hope, participate in the actions that fit your abilities, and stay safe. So be it, and blessed be. And our second hymn is number 347, Gather the Spirit.
I forgot to photocopy this, and I only have one hand. Up here all the same. Gather in thanks, gather in sympathy, now and then
my favorites and has been for a long, long time. Our closing words are by Kevin Jago, and they are called Hope Continues. When the candle dims, the wax almost spent, the light turns amber like a sunset. Still, it provides light. Still, it provides heat. Still, it can kindle new flame and pass its glow on and contribute to new illumination. When sunsets turn to new days, when seasons transform all, when the candle dims, all is not lost. Hope continues, uncertain and true, like candlelight, ready to spark again. All is not lost. And will you join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we will until we are together again. And do we have any announcements?
I have one. John Snodgrass messaged this morning that he will be having surgery December 19th. So we should see him 2 more times before he has surgery. He says if it all goes smoothly, he won't miss any Sundays, but December 19th is his surgery. We should see him 2 more times.
I have one little tiny announcement. Anybody who is not planning to come to coffee hour, please come down for at least a minute because we have a little something for Erica.
Well, that certainly piques my interest. I always love a mystery.
A mystery.
Are there any others? Or are we all covered? Okay. Thanks, go in peace, and have a great week. I'll let Patty sing.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. Bright and early from their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrows. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams of when I'm dying are the best I ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take.